which is our weekly newsletter that goes out on Mondays, just kind of giving you insights, providing you with information, resources, because we want you to be informed investors out there. So many people are jumping into the stock market, and it's just so important that with all that's going on, that you are an informed investor. So that's what Stock Snoops is. If you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, go ahead and do that at stocksnoops.com after this video, though. First and foremost, let me introduce her. She's also my sister, Adrian. Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world.
So Adrian is my go-to when it comes to individual stocks. So anytime I'm looking at a particular company or I'm seeing people talk about it, I go to Adrian because she's like a human computer research brain that knows how to really look at charts and look at information and news and say, okay, yeah, this looks good, or oh, this kind of looks like it's just a bunch of hype. So I brought Adrian on because I want you guys to know also what we're investing in. We wanted to share some of the companies that we're invested in and how they've been doing, especially in a time when everybody's talking about cryptocurrency. You've got fear of missing out, AKA FOMO. So like there's a lot of people that when they subscribe to Stock Snoops, they're asking like, what should we invest in? What do I put my money in? And disclaimer, we are not financial advisors, so we're not licensed to just say, hey, do this and do that. This is all us sharing our personal journey and experience, and we want you to do the same with us. So again, this isn't advice. You invest at your own risk, invest what you can afford to lose, but it is, I think, important for us to share as a community what we are invested in and where our thought process is. So Adrian, your stocks, individual stocks, have been on fire, but whose isn't in this market? Like this is like the super bull run, isn't it?
This is a crazy bull run, I think. I mean, even more on, full steam ahead since the last bull market after we got out of the financial recession, back in 2009. I mean, it's a continued bull market, but this has been like extremely expedited from the pandemic. So over the past year, stocks across the board have just skyrocketed. And we've definitely been taking advantage of that and investing more into positions that we feel could be along that ride. So it's definitely been a crazy year. And even the beginning of this year has started off insane as well, with stocks continuing to go up. And now you have this new asset class, cryptocurrency, as we all know, that has also been skyrocketing since its last run up in 2017. So there's a lot going on in the market right now, and definitely trying to keep up with as much as possible.
Yeah, I find it interesting. All these like new investors who've been winning and they're winning big. So now they're starting their own like, follow me for stock tips and all this other stuff. And it's just like right now everybody's winning. Like I feel like if you invest in anything right now, you're gonna see green. It's kind of strange. So I always tell people like be very careful who you're following. And again, make sure that you are following businesses or companies or people who really are interested in informing you as opposed to selling you, because that's important, because it seems like a lot of people are just like selling you as they go, or like, hey, they're learning too, but again, they've got a couple wins. Now everybody is an investment specialist, which I think is just like dangerous for everybody watching. So let's get into your positions though. What are some of your, let's talk about like the most exciting position that you're in, a company that you've invested in that you really have seen just incredible growth, and why you think that that's happened.
So right now we are invested in a mining company for cryptocurrency, High Blockchain Technologies, and I invested in that back in September. So since then we've returned over 1,700% as of Friday's market close. And I did take some profit earlier because this is a very volatile stock. I mean, it's got some of the highest, what's called beta, which kind of measures the volatility of the stock. It's got some of the highest beta out there. And, it's going to swing up huge, but it can also swing down huge. It has done that. But right now, the run up has just been just insane. And it's because it's going in tandem with Bitcoin specifically, because it's a mining company for Bitcoin. They also mine Ethereum. They're also kind of expanding their business, but they're also profitable. And that's the main reason why I went into it, because, cryptocurrency is such a new emerging market. A lot of companies who are out there may not be making the money yet, not turning profitable yet. But as Bitcoin goes up, you're going to start to see companies actually, having some positive balance sheets coming out. But right now, High Blockchain Technologies is one of those companies. And, it's still relatively cheap. It's run up to about $5 and some change as of Friday. We actually invested in it at 30 cents. So we invested in it as a penny stock. But that right now is my high flyer.
Yeah, and it's funny you guys invested in it around that 29, 30 cents mark, and I'm the type that I wait forever. Like I'm like scared. I'm that investor that dips the toe in the pool, but I'm scared to jump in. So I kept watching it go up, 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 like probably most of you guys are doing with cryptocurrency right now. Anyway, I jumped in eventually, finally, and I think I jumped in around I may have been in about $1.85 or something like that. And I remember I jumped in. Keep in mind at that point, y'all were up hundreds of percentage. But I said, let me just see, because I felt like with all the talk about crypto going up, I was like, oh, okay. This is this will be a byproduct of that. I didn't think that the conversation was going to stop. And sure enough, it hasn't. Elon Musk is talking about it. He's hyping it up. So anyway, even getting in at $1.85, I've seen, I've over doubled my money since. And I think I'm up almost 1,000%, almost, or close to it. And then what's interesting though is I bought it at $1.85, right? Then I remember like maybe that day or the next day it was going down, 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 down. I was like, what? Or no, I think, excuse me, let me do a correction. I bought it in the twos. I bought it around $2.05. Then I saw it go down to $1.85. And again, a lot of times, and this goes back to training your mind to investing or trading, is when it goes down, technically you're supposed to be thinking this is a sell. But I think the natural person, when you see, if you bought at 2 and you see it go down to 150, you're like, oh, let me out of here, or I don't want to invest anymore, or I give up. And that's a mentality you really have to work on, because anytime I see it go down, I'm like, oh, I lost. But you haven't lost until you actually sold. Just like you haven't really won until you've actually sold it and took profit. It's either up or down. So I remember when it went down to 185, I bought more. And so part of, now that it's at $5, that's actually covered even, I've made more than, when it was at the $2. So that's just another little thing, little tidbit too. I haven't seen your type of returns yet, but I'll take the over 50% return so far.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, timing is everything. You cannot time the market. And sometimes you just have to take a chance.
Yes.
And the numbers that they had available, their strategy, what they were trying to do, and just kind of just seeing this, trend, this strong uptrend in Bitcoin, and kind of seeing it trade in tandem with that. I was like, well, I'm going to take a chance, because I'm not a penny stock. I'm telling you right now, I'm not into penny stocks. Invested, in a penny stock in the past, when I was uneducated. So, this one I stance on against my better judgment, and it has worked out phenomenally.
Are you actually invested in any cryptocurrencies? And if so, how's that gone for you?
Yes, I am invested in Bitcoin, and I'm invested in Ethereum. And of course, now I invested in those two currencies, I believe back in 2016. So it's been a number of years now. The returns are starting to go up. Of course, with the volatility, the extreme volatility, let me tell you, extreme volatility, it's gone down where I've even lost on the money, but it's kind of just gone back up. I mean, the cryptocurrencies, they move every second. It's literally every second, every minute. It's not stagnant by any means necessary. And so 1 hour you're making $100, and the next hour you could be making $5, or you could be, you could be losing $500. It's very volatile, but I think just because of the current trends, I think it's safe to purchase. You know what I mean? Because it's still going up, and I think what really is driving it upward, not just Elon Musk tweeting about it, but the fact that he's putting it on his balance sheet, which is opening the doors, breaking Pandora's box, if you will, for other corporations to do the same. And I think that just kind of speeds up adoption into mass market. And that's why I think, we could be on the verge of cryptocurrencies, just coming into the mainstream, which is just unlocks even more potential for profit.
Awesome. So, again, make sure, as Adrian keeps saying, everything is that whole situation is very volatile. So make sure you only invest what you can afford to lose. All right. I don't have a lot of time, Adrian, so I'm going to jump into, and I'll bring you back next time for Money Making Mondays. But let's talk a little bit about the marijuana industry, because that's also another industry that is very hot and heated up. And your numbers there look pretty good too.
Yeah, so I invest in four different pot stocks.
Pot stocks. Is that what it's called? Pot stocks.
Say that's what they're calling them on the street now. They're like, hey, pot stocks. But I invest in four different companies. Two of them are based in Canada, and two of them are U.S. based. So I'm really hoping, as the legalization rollout happens in our country, obviously it's going to unlock this market, which is, the market cap is in the billions. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is just another emerging market that is fresh, that has potential for you to make a lot of money in, in instance. So I invested in four pot stocks, I believe about a year ago. And right now they're over 300% total return to date, because right now we're in a run up. When I bought them, they were just finishing a run up by the time I learned about them. So I would say one or two I bought a little higher, a little too high, but they were still like not even what the price is right now. So right now we're in like the second big run up in pot stocks. And again, with the continued legalization from states, and if the federal government decides to legalize it, I mean, this industry is going to take off too.
Okay, so you're going to hold on to those.
Those I am holding. I definitely, and one thing that I will say is, because I know I've been seeing some information out there, or some research out there about, once the U.S. market it gets rolling, it's going to be a little harder for Canadian companies to compete, with the U.S. companies. So that's why I'm switching my strategy. I'm actually waiting for, I have a sell order on one of my pot stocks that's based in Canada, that I'm going to sell out of that position.
What's the name of the company and the ticker and the symbol?
Well, the is CRON.
CRON.
CRON. That's the ticker of the company that I think I'm gonna just go ahead and sell out of. They're based in Canada, but I also like Afria. Everybody's hearing about Afria, which is APHA is that ticker. That one they're merging with Tilray later this year, and so, or actually, I think as early as the second quarter. But that one, I was ready to sell out, but I'm like, no, I investigated Tilray, because Tilray has a U.S. business. So when Apria, who is also based in Canada, merges with Tilray, I think that's going to unlock some U.S. business opportunity for the company. So I'm going to hold that position, because I'm really, on board with U.S. companies in that space for the long run.
Got it. Well, you're smoking. Literally. No. Bad joke. Anyway, but yeah, we'll have to talk more. I think next time I bring you back on for Money Making Monday, I want to talk gambling, because I told you about DraftKings. I didn't jump into it, but you did, and it's like on fire. As I knew it would be. I just didn't do it.
Well, why you're always holding back. When I jump in, you need to come with me, sis.
I told you. Hey, listen. Rule number one for all y'all out there investing, you got to know the type of investor you are. There's some people like Adrian who understand how to research and trust their gut and go with it. There's other people like me. I prefer autopilot, because I'm not going to put that type of time and effort in, and I don't like when I'm losing. And so for me, it works a little better if I just have different products that I put my money in and let it ride, which has been my mutual fund, which has been my 401k. And I do still have a little fun. I call it my fun fund, which is basically money that I'm like, okay, whether I win or lose, I'm okay with it. And still my biggest winner is I did do Hive blockchain. So that's HVBTF, which is up, what is this? 183% it's up since I bought it. And then of course there's ESPO, which, I love the ETFs, because I prefer to just get one stock that has a whole bunch of stocks in it. So the ESPO stock, which was a game stock, is up 140% for me. So,
Tell me
I'm
about
gonna stick with that. But you got to know yourself. If you're gonna invest out here, you got to know yourself. You got to know your tolerance level for when things go up and when things go down. Because if you're gonna be jumping every time something crashes or goes down, or you don't understand how to, adapt when it comes to losses, you're gonna find yourself in a whole heap of stress and all kinds of mess because you're out here trying to time the market and trying to follow this person on Twitter and Instagram, and before you know it, you're like, oh my God, what happened to my money? I'm not rich yet.
I definitely want to put out there as well, because I know, I'm the one between the both of us who just goes in on individual stocks. But, just like you, I do have solid investments in mutual funds and ETFs. And that's what gives me the confidence to go out here and invest in individual stocks, period. Because if I didn't have any of those less volatile, more secured vehicles, I wouldn't be investing as many individual stocks that I do now. So I will put out there, yes, my sanity in this market is in mutual funds and in ETFs.
Got you. That's a very good point. Thank you for that. So everybody else out there, that's excellent advice. Remember, we're not financial advisors, so we're not licensed to tell you what to do with your money, but this is good information that we're sharing, and we want you to share as well. You can comment below. You can subscribe to our newsletter, stocksnoops.com. You can take a little quick survey after you read it and give us feedback. We've gotten great feedback so far, and we've gotten great questions and things. We're starting to get insights as we're growing out the newsletter into more things that you want to get more information about. So that's been good. So make sure you go to stocksnoops.com. It's a weekly newsletter right now. We're hoping to grow that over time. And again, just provide more resources, more opportunities for you so that you can be an informed investor, because that's important. The best investor is an informed one. All right. So stocksnoops.com, go there, sign up for the newsletter, get it, give us feedback. And Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on all your success on your portfolio. Thank you for the good tips, because I'm successful now too, thanks to you. And let's keep going up. Let's keep riding the wave, because I'm still convinced that like at some point this bubble's gonna pop somewhere. So I've also been, like you said, taking some profits and building up my cash reserve so that when something does start eventually going down, I'll be ready to jump in, maybe with some cash.
And I will say, we are watching the markets. We are watching, the temperament, the sentiment, what's going on out there. And yes, you do have to be prepared for an eventual bubble. No one knows when it will happen. You also need to be prepared for inflation. That's an even bigger threat to the market, with all of the, businesses right now who are operating like, 0% interest and things like that. But that's going to change over time,
Yeah. Oh, I think
keep you informed on those things too. And
okay, you froze on me a little bit at the end.
Oh, okay. We're going to give you tips down the road on how to combat inflation and rising interest rates as well.
Okay, so yeah, stocksnoops.com. Get with it. Get our newsletter. Stay informed. Adrian, thank you so much for joining us, and keep us going with the newsletter. It's appreciated. All right. That's Money Making Mondays. Indy, let's keep it going, y'all. Hot 96.3. Much love to you, and make sure you wake up with us over here at the Morning Hustle Show. Head crack. Yours truly, Angie Ange, starring L'Oreal and Billy Sorrells. We'll see you in the morning.